Our journey with cancer, cancer fighters, how we are dealing with cancer. Hello, y'all. I'm Dianna Brianne. I don't give advice, suggestions, information, recommendations. I just share with you my perspective on different topics, and I share with you my own journey in life, okay? I hope you connect to my channel. All the links are pinned to the top of the comment section below. So I wanted to come on here, and talk about our journey with cancer. And some of you may say, well, that's such a personal journey. How can you come on YouTube and talk about it? Well, I believe that when going through a crisis, it's important to not be isolated. It's important to not isolate ourselves. It's important to team up with the right others. And so when we share our journey and our story, our crisis, and what we are going through, often we will find the right people on that journey to help us. And many people have gone this journey before, and whatever kind of journey, whatever kind of crisis, there's always others who have journeyed that kind of crisis before. And when we isolate ourselves, what can happen is we can avoid those people that can give us their wisdom and their comfort. So we have decided to share the journey in part. Maybe some of it we won't share completely because some things are so personal, and yet we've chosen to be open and as transparent as we feel comfortable in being. And so for those that, feel like we should run and hide with this story, or run and hide with this subject, run and hide and just keep it, to ourselves, well, you can go find a different channel, because this channel wouldn't be for you. This is for people who have journeyed it, or who are journeying it, and we are just sharing our story. Like I said, I'm not giving information, recommendations, advice, or anything else. So our story started a little over 2 weeks ago. We had no idea, we had no clue, and we had no roadmap. We have no roadmap because generally it's not a journey anyone would ever want to be on. So there is no roadmap for something like this, at least not for us. And so we're creating our own roadmap as we go, a step at a time. And about two and a half weeks ago, a family member developed a cough. And I'm going to explain to you that we did talk about whether we should share this or whether we shouldn't. And when I began to share it, because we both decided, that the family decided that it was the right thing to do, the outpouring of love and caring and wisdom and great information has really, really been amazing. And I want to thank everybody that has been pouring out to us. I truly, truly thank you. And so about 2.5 weeks ago, my husband developed a cough, a dry cough. And I knew immediately it wasn't right. I knew it wasn't a cold. I knew it wasn't anything. He was constantly clearing his voice. And I said to him, this doesn't sound right. And he said, no, it's probably just a cold. So he kind of brushed it off, but I did bring it to his notice on a regular basis because he was clearing his throat a lot. And so he went to work a little over 2 weeks ago, and at some point later in the day, he called me and said, honey, I said, you don't sound right. My husband's name is Jack, like Jack and Diane, like the song, Jack and Diane. People always called us Jack and Diane. And whenever they heard the song, they always thought of us. And so he said, I don't want to scare you. I said, you just don't sound good. He said, well, I have chest tightness. I said, get to the emergency room right away. And he didn't, but he called his doctor, and the doctor then said, get to the emergency room right away. And so he did. Well, there were 48 people in front of him, and he waited for 6 hours, and so he decided to leave. And he left, and he came home and contacted the doctor the next morning, or I think the doctor actually contacted him. And they said, well, we need to do one of those swab tests first to make sure it's nothing. And I knew it wasn't. Nonetheless, he had to have that. So once they found out that that was negative, they did a CAT scan. And I knew, waiting for the doctor to call, my husband was very tired that day. His oxygen level, they discovered, was low. And so we got one of those little oxygen meters. And he went to bed. And he slept, and he said, if the doctor calls, you take the call. So the doctor called, and I knew exactly what he was going to say. And he said, this is, very, very worrisome, very concerning. And he told me what they found. And it wasn't good. And so he said, I'm going to put you in contact with all these different doctors, these specialists, and we're going to build a team on this so that we know what to do. And so we waited, and finally, they also ordered another scan, and it did not come back all that great either. And so we had to wait. This is a whole maze, shock. What in the world is going on? His oxygen level would go up and down. He's very athletic, very fit. He's 5 years younger than me, and he's never been sick. Never been sick. Always healthy. We have a very healthy lifestyle. And so now all of a sudden we're shocked. And of course, confused. What in the world is going on? And so we had to wait for the doctors. And then finally we got into a specialist, and they explained everything to us, and that they had to do a biopsy. And so we had to wait, and then finally we got went for the biopsy, and I was there, my son was there. And of course, after the biopsy, it was a long waiting. That morning was a lot of hours of waiting for, pre-op, and then you go into the operating room, then you have to come out and do recovery. So the doctor came down, he was wonderful, and he explained, took me in the little room where you talk privately, and he explained to me what was going on, and that it is cancer, and there's more than one spot, and this one is quite large, and it's not located in a good place, and all of that. And in the meantime, my husband says he feels terrific. His oxygen levels went back to normal. In the meantime of all this, I had put him on all these, what I call the anti-cancer diet. I don't know if it really works, and I don't know, a lot of people says it does. I have no idea. But, juicing and all of that, I researched all of it, and I began that very extremely healthy eating, so we began all of that. We began to do all of our research. We began to, prepare for the worst, because I think part of a successful outcome often has to do with possibilities of the worst. And if you're preparing for the worst, often you can get through the worst. If you don't prepare for the worst, if you don't prepare for the battle, you may not be able to get through that battle. So we, did everything that we thought that we needed to do from A to Z to prepare for this battle, because we knew at that point we were going to be in for a battle. I have to tell you, my husband has the best sense of humor. He said, hey, I'm not worried about this. All I want to do is go play golf. And he's a golfer, and he loves playing golf. His sense of humor is just perfect and beautiful and wonderful. And he says, I let my wife do all the worrying for me. And I've always said my husband is the technical expert in our family, and I'm the dreamer and the creative person and the wisdom person. And the two of us are a perfect combination, like I said, Jack and Diane. And so we're a perfect combination. And, I dream the dreams, and he makes them happen. And we've had a wonderful, amazing, around 30 years of marriage. It's just been incredible. We've been so blessed. I've talked about how I met my husband. If you haven't watched that video, please go watch it, called How I Met My Husband. And that was miraculous, how that all happened. And I did a couple videos on that. I've had many miracles in my life. And, you know, I fell apart. I have to tell you, I truly fell apart for that moment. I did a video called Falling Apart When You Fall Apart for the Moment, or Falling Apart When You Fall Apart. And I think I did a couple of them. And I just did one yesterday, so it's already up. But I fell apart. You know, I fell apart. My husband didn't fall apart. I fell apart. And I just started, you know, crying. And then I realized I can only fall apart for a short time. And I had that luxury. I went into the bedroom. I cried and cried and cried. And then I came back out and I came strong, because I realized he needs strength. He doesn't need weakness. He now needs to rely on me. He's always been the wind beneath my wings. He's always been my strong one. He's always been the one that's always been there. He's always been there for me. Now I need to be there for him. I need to be the wind beneath the wings. And so I made that decision to be strong. I'm a fighter, okay? We're going to fight this battle. And even though it's the initial, you know, looking at all this is not good, we are fighting it. We are surrounding ourselves with positive energy, positive people. We are believing, you know, of course, you know, initially we're very fearful. You know, of course, at least I was. And, you know, and yet I realized that fear is only going to make us sicker and hold us back. And we've got to come from a place of positive energy and surround ourselves with only positive people, and surround ourselves with the right professionals, the right solutions, the right medical solutions, and the right holistic solutions, the right spiritual solutions. And I immediately went into prayer and fasting. And we're doing everything. We're doing it from A to Z, you know, all the right things. And I have to tell you, when you get something like this in the beginning, you're overwhelmed in so many different ways. And I have to tell you that last weekend, it had taken such a toll on me that I woke up and went to get out of bed, and I'd been perfectly fine the day before. I went to get out of bed, and all of a sudden I developed this sharp, sharp pain in my shin bone, in my leg, my lower bone in my leg, I guess it is. I'm not sure what, is it the tibia? I mean, I couldn't walk. I screamed for my husband. I was hobbling. I had to get a crutch. I had to use a roller chair. We have an office roller chair, and I was rolling around on this roller chair, and it was terrible. And then my back of my leg went out, then my other leg went out, and then my knees went out, and then my hip went out, and I think my other hip went out too, and then my low back. It was horrible for about 4 or 5 days. And I realized that if I was down for the count, I wouldn't be able to help my husband. And it was as if I just prayed and cast it all away, that it went away. It went away. I was perfectly fine. Now, you could call it psychosomatic or whatever. I don't believe it was. It was real, real pain. I couldn't walk. I could not, I mean, I could barely walk. I could stand up and hobble. And I even went for my, what I call my weekly massage, and I couldn't barely get up on the table, and I could tell that they were very concerned. You know, it was just terrible. Now, could have it been fear? Could have been stress? Could have it been anxiety? Could have it been all those things? Absolutely. But it was a lot of negative energy that I was taking in. I'm very spiritual. I absorb energy. And so I have to be very mindful about the energy that I'm around. And it wasn't, you know, it was just overwhelming for me, and I assimilated it into my body somehow. And I'm perfectly fine now. I was out running 5 miles today. I feel great at almost 65. And so I realized, number one, I have to take care of me so that I can be there for my husband. If I'm broke, I can't take care of him. I can't be there for him. I can't support him if I'm dealing with my own issues. So number one, I'm taking care of my body through rest and sleep, and great nutrition, and exercise, and being good to me, and eliminating and simplifying so much in my life. I'm simplifying a lot, a lot. I'm taking things off of our plate that don't need to be there so that I can focus on what is important. So we are on this journey called cancer. I'm not recommending anything to anybody. I'm just sharing with you so that those who may be going through it or have been through it or may someday go through it know that other people have gone through it or are going through it. And I don't have a roadmap. I don't have answers. I don't have solutions. Okay? But I will share with you our journey. I'm staying positive. I'm staying hopeful. It's easy to go to a very dark place when you get a diagnosis. It's very, very easy. And I understand that. And for a moment, I probably did. But I got out of that right away because I realized that was going to do no benefit for us. That I had absolutely to get into a positive place of believing and having hope and having faith, all at the same time, preparing, planning, and preparing for the worst so that we could get through the worst, okay? So that we could be, my husband can be totally well and totally healed. I mean, he went out and played golf. You know, you would never know by looking at him that he's dealing with any kind of issue. You would not know. You would not know. The cough has gone away. And his oxygen level is normal. And this, you know, prognosis, or I don't know if it's a prognosis, but it's, let's just say the test results were not good. Okay, they were not good. They were not anything you want to hear. And yet he remains positive. I remain positive. I've stepped up to the plate to support him. At the same time, I have to take care of me so that I can do that. And so the caregiver, if that's what you want to call me right now, and I'm not a caregiver because he's not an invalid or anything, he's out, you know, playing a little bit of golf. And good for him, good for him. And I'm so happy that he's doing that. And so the thing about it is taking care of you is an important thing so that you can take care of others. And a lot of caregivers don't do that, and then they break down, get sick, and then everybody falls apart. So I need to be strong for him. Don't isolate yourself, because if you isolate yourself, you are likely not going to do, you're not going to connect with the right people. Now that may protect you against the wrong people, because there's a lot of vultures out there. And I did a video about a couple days ago called Vultures, a week ago, called Vultures. And there are vultures out there, but most people are good. And even if people are ill-informed or don't have the right solutions, but when they're trying, just know that they're trying and that they love you and they care enough to be trying to find a solution for you. Not all solutions are right solutions. Not all information is accurate. What works well for one person may not work well for another. Cancer is a scary thing, especially in the beginning. And so when you're going through it, you know, understand that it's very normal to feel scared. But you want to come from a place of empowerment. You want to be able to fight that battle. Everyone's battle is different. And so what we are going through came as a shock, as suddenly, no notice, no kind of notice, other than the cough a week before. That was it. That was it. No notice. It wasn't part of our plan. It wasn't a journey we planned on being on. We had no map for this. We still don't have a map for this. And yet we're hopeful. We pray. I fast. We are surrounding ourselves with the right professionals. We're surrounding ourselves with friends and family and people who are praying for us. I'm networking because I want great ideas, people who have overcome these kind of situations. And if I close myself off, if we close ourselves off, we're not going to get any of that. And so we will get the, you know, other kinds of people too, but we know to avoid them. We know to avoid the vultures. And so the thing about it is that going through a crisis is an emotional time. It can be a scary time. And yet you want to empower yourself by taking great care of yourself, making great decisions, getting accurate information. I slow life down so that I can see everything. Some people speed it up. I slow it down. I slow it down to a snail's pace if possible. I simplify. I stay hopeful. I only am around positive energy. And so we are journeying this. And I have no idea how the road is going to go, but I know I'm staying positive, and so is my husband. And so I could come on here and not share this with you, but I've been pretty transparent for the most part. I don't think everything needs to be shared, especially when it comes to other people, and especially if they don't want it shared. So my husband and I are very comfortable in talking about this at a certain level. And so I will share with you when and if I think it's appropriate and what I feel. I hope I inspire others to know that they're not alone if they're going through a crisis of any kind, that what may work for us may not work for somebody else, so they have to find their own best solutions. And just know that everybody gets something in life. And, you know, everybody does. We often think other people don't go through stuff. People think my life is just perfect and all that. And I have a wonderful, 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 wonderful life. And yet I've been through my share of crises and difficult and challenging times along the way in life. Matter of fact, when this came along, I sort of asked God, I said, God, why? Why haven't I been through enough? And it was as if God said to me, you're strong. You're strong. You'll be a testimony. And so here we are on our journey. And I call it our journey because it's my husband who got the diagnosis, but we are fighting it together. Okay? Well, I wanted to come on here and share this with you. I hope you say a prayer for us. May God bless you. And I hope to talk to you soon again. Bye-bye.